1. When training new nuisance wildlife control operators, which adult learning principle is most effective for teaching humane trapping methods? A. Emphasizing repetition without context. B. Relating techniques to prior animal handling experience. C. Delivering only theoretical lectures. D. Assigning passive video watching. 2. Which evaluation method best determines an operator's competency in identifying protected species? A. Multiple choice written tests only. B. Field assessments with real-life identification scenarios. C. Peer self-reporting surveys. D. Oral recitation of species names. 3. A curriculum for wildlife exclusion techniques should prioritize A. Case-based learning that reflects real field challenges. B. One-time lecture notes. C. Abstract theory without application. D. Written reports with no demonstrations. 4. When mentoring a trainee in handling rabies vector species, the mentor should first A. Demonstrate proper PPE use during a field scenario. B. Provide only a textbook chapter to read. C. Ask the trainee to attempt handling unsupervised. D. Wait until after training to correct mistakes. 5. Which regulatory compliance factor is most important when relocating captured wildlife? A. Adherence to state wildlife agency permits. E. Supervisor approval without records. C. Trainee preference for location. D. Informal group consensus. 6. The most effective communication method for instructing on zoonotic disease prevention is A. Using clear, plain language with visual aids. B. Relying solely on dense regulatory text. C. Delivering lengthy monologues without interaction. D. Limiting discussion to reduce trainee questions. 7. Which evaluation method best measures long-term retention of exclusion skills? A. Practical simulations, repeated after several weeks. B. End-of-course written exam only. C. Short pop quizzes without feedback. D. Attendance tracking. 8. According to adult learning principles, wildlife control operators will learn best if A. Training is interactive and tied to their daily tasks. E. The trainer delivers all content in lecture form. C. Exercises avoid real-world connections. D. Learners are passive observers. 9. During an audit, the most defensible record of nuisance wildlife training completion is A. Signed certificates with documented competency evaluations. B. Verbal assurances from the trainer. C. Trainees' personal notes. D. Informal mentor feedback. 10. When mentoring, the best way to address unsafe cage handling is A. Provide constructive feedback immediately after observation. B. Ignore the error to maintain confidence. C. Criticize the trainee in front of peers. D. Delay correction until the final evaluation. 11. To maintain regulatory compliance, nuisance wildlife curriculum updates should A. Reflect changes in local and federal wildlife laws. B. Stay unchanged to avoid confusion. C. Be based only on mentor experience. D. Remove challenging materials to shorten sessions. 12. The most critical communication skill in teaching wildlife conflict resolution is A. Listening to trainee concerns and clarifying misunderstandings. B. Using technical jargon without simplification. C. Speaking rapidly to cover all regulations. D. Avoiding dialogue to save time. 13. Compliance training for nuisance wildlife control should include A. Scenario-based lessons integrating legal and ethical requirements. B. Only federal laws with no state references. C. general concepts without application. D. Informal peer discussions without assessment. 14. Which is the most reliable way to evaluate the success of a mentoring program? A. Reduction in safety violations and regulatory errors. B. Trainee reports of satisfaction only. C. Mentor recall of informal conversations. D. End-of-year trainer survey. 15. A curriculum designed for urban wildlife exclusion must: A. Address specific scenarios like Attic raccoon removal. B. Focus only on rural animal control. C. Eliminate case studies to save time. D. Cover abstract biology without application. 16. When evaluating course effectiveness, the trainer should prioritize: A. Outcomes in compliance rates and incident reduction. B. Entertainment value of the training. C. Length of materials delivered. D. Popularity among trainees. 17. The best method to teach operators about humane euthanasia standards is: A. Scenario-based case discussions with legal references. B. Trainer-led monologues. C. Memorization without application. D. Reading technical manuals only. 18. A mentor is most effective when: A. Modeling safe and humane practices in the field. B. Delegating without explanation. C. Limiting contact to classroom sessions. D. Providing feedback only after training ends. 19. Which documentation provides the strongest evidence of regulatory compliance? A. Competency-based assessment forms signed by both trainer and trainee. B. Unverified attendance sheets. C. Verbal confirmation from the trainer. D. Informal text messages. 20. Which evaluation method best ensures operators understand legal use of traps? A. Field demonstration followed by supervised practice. B. True-false test questions only. C. Peer group debates without guidance. D. Attendance-based completion. 21. Reflection in adult learning is important because it: A. Connects prior wildlife control experiences to new learning. B. Encourages passive memorization. C. Reduces time on hands-on training. D. Prevents critical thinking. 22. Which mentoring strategy is most effective for skill transfer? A. Guided job shadowing with structured feedback. B. Assigning manuals for self-study only. C. Providing no feedback to foster independence. D. Allowing unsupervised experimentation. 23. Regulatory compliance training for wildlife operators should emphasize: A. Documentation, accountability, and adherence to law. B. Simplified checklists without context. C. Informal group agreements. D. Avoiding assessment to reduce anxiety. 24. The most accurate way to assess operator communication skills with the public is: A. Simulated role-play responding to homeowner concerns. B. Multiple choice quizzes. C. Written essays. D. Reviewing sign-in sheets. 25. Intrinsic motivation for adult learners in nuisance wildlife training is encouraged by: A. Highlighting how humane practices protect communities and ecosystems. B. Focusing only on penalties for mistakes. C. Using overly technical language. D. Minimizing relevance to daily work. 26. Mentoring effectiveness is maximized when feedback: A. Is aligned with training objectives and regulatory standards. B. Is vague and non-specific. C. Avoids linking to established goals. D. Is delivered inconsistently. 27. Wildlife control curriculum should remain aligned with: A. Federal, state, and local wildlife control regulations. B. Only local company policies. C. Outdated guidelines for simplicity. D. Mentor preferences. 28. The most effective way to simulate emergency response in training is A. Drills with real-time decision-making under supervision. B. Reviewing emergency protocols in lectures only. C. Reading policy handouts. D. Trainee self-reflection essays. 29. Formative assessment in nuisance wildlife control training is used to A. Provide ongoing feedback for improvement. E. Replace summative evaluations. C. Track attendance only. D. Avoid corrective action. 30. Which mentoring technique least supports regulatory compliance? A. Field inspections with documented feedback. B. Demonstrating proper exclusion techniques. C. Ignoring record-keeping during sessions. D. Providing detailed coaching in humane practices. 31. A curriculum addressing bat exclusion should emphasize A. Seasonal restrictions to protect maternity colonies. B. Year-round exclusion without exception. C. Abstract species biology only. D. Legal texts without application. 32. The most effective measure of curriculum improvement is A. Comparing wildlife complaint resolution rates before and after training. B. Asking for informal opinions only. C. Trainer satisfaction surveys. D. Reusing outdated exams. 33. Trainer-trainee communication is most effective when A. Two-way dialogue with active clarification is encouraged. B. The trainer dominates without questions. C. Trainees only listen passively. D. Feedback is delayed until course completion.